Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And we are back with episode 2 of season 6. Episode 1 came out a couple weeks ago. But we are so glad, Tracy, that Val is back with
She's
us.
Back.
We muddled our way through the last episode. We did better than when we've done it on our own before. But
Yeah, we did a solo episode with just Jake and I in the early days of this podcast with Pacific Rim, and
yeah,
we crashed and burned so hard. Like, we debated even putting it up there. You know, we're like, you know what, we're gonna post it, and we did, and it was not good. But
yeah,
we did okay last time.
yeah. This last one was good.
It wasn't
Well,
great.
I'm only going to be here on the even episodes, so just let you
Only the even. Yeah. So there
So
you
you're like
go.
the
Now
Star
you
Trek
know.
franchise.
Just kidding.
Yeah, only good on the even. Yeah,
Odd on the odd.
yeah.
But we're
I
odd.
mean, other than the masterpiece that was, of course, Star Trek V, Undiscovered Country.
The Search for God.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what you're talking about.
That's okay.
You haven't seen that one?
That's okay. It's something.
It's something
Like this, right? Is it like
I think
this?
Shatner wrote that one, if I remember right.
I
That
think
makes
so.
a lot of sense.
It was either Shatner or
I'm pretty
Nimoy.
sure
One of the
If he didn't write it, he was heavily involved. I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, Star Trek: The Search
Was
for
it?
God.
yeah. It's what it was. It was anyway. I said Undiscovered Country. That's not 5. That's 6,
Yep,
and
that's
it's
6.
actually really good. Yeah, Undiscovered Country. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Star Trek. I'm sorry, I took us
You
off on a
sure?
tangent. Yeah.
It's Star. It's sci-fi.
Yes, Tracy, that's good. Let's go ahead and go with that because these two franchises love it when you mix the two of them up. It's their
say we
favorite.
still do it. Let's twirl that
Yeah,
bucket
stir
of
the
mess
pot.
that is the stars.
You know, the good news is I think we're going to make Star Wars fans mad enough because I think we all enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
So
Spoiler
that's
alert,
going
we
to
all
tick them
enjoyed it.
off.
See you later.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you don't have to listen to the rest of the episode. I'm sure we won't say anything else interesting at all.
Star Wars fans love to be upset about. They're only happy when they're mad. It seems like, which is unfortunate because that's not what it used to be like.
That's a great sentence. Someone should make that into a song lyric or something.
I'm only happy when it rains.
That's some nostalgia '90s kickback right there.
That's my life is 90s nostalgic
Garbage.
kickback.
Yep.
Back.
Yep.
No, my life is also garbage. That's true too.
Oh.
Just
No,
kidding.
it's
not.
not.
My life is wonderful.
Yeah,
Life
you
is
got a lot
beautiful.
of fun things going on right now.
The other day I was in Harmon's or Macy's, I can't remember which, but they were playing Pearl Jam, in the background music, and I'm like, when did this become shopping music? And then they played "I Alone" by Live, and I was like, my '90s college alternative music soundtrack is now the nostalgia oldies soundtrack for grocery shopping.
That album of Live, that is one of their best albums ever. So if you have
Throwing Copper
have
was
it, yeah, you need
fantastic.
it.
Yeah,
Go get it.
Yep, it's a great album. Well, it's like when the kids are wearing the Nirvana t-shirts because they're retro and vintage and cool, and I'm like, Kurt
Yep.
Cobain's rolling over in his grave because they're
Nah, he
cool,
doesn't care.
and yeah, he doesn't care. It's true.
I just always ask him, like, so what's your favorite song?
Yeah,
not
Like,
Nevermind.
Sammy wears all of Dave's old Metallica shirts. As soon as
Those
he
are good
says, I'm
stuff.
getting rid of these shirts, Sammy goes and looks through the pile of discarded Rock Band shirts and takes them. And when she first started wearing them, he would tease her. But now she knows some of the songs, just the titles. I don't know that she listens to them, but she has an answer. At least have an answer, kids.
yeah. Metallica's got a great catalog. I mean, there's some great songs to pick from in there.
Mm-hmm.
Kidding. Yes.
They do.
I know they do. I'm just kidding.
They're about as metal as I can get, so I feel tough
They're
and
like
rugged when I listen to them.
they're
They're
the
like
gateway
pop
drug
metal.
to metal.
Yeah. They're
Metallica's the gateway drug to metal.
Yep. That's exactly what they are.
Right,
They
babe? Metallica's the gateway drug to metal.
Absolutely.
He agrees.
Yeah. It's not the good
He's
stuff. It's the like you can tolerate it until you can get the better stuff, and you can 100%. There's Dixon Flannel Company because you guys know I'm obsessed with shirts. They have a series of special flannels that they've done in collaboration with Metallica, and so they've got like a Kill 'Em All flannel,
Oh.
Justice for All, and there's one that I really want, Ride the Lightning, that is just a cool
Will you send
flannel
me the
design.
links to those? Or just to the one?
They're limited editions, and so they're all sold out. So you've got to find them like on eBay or secondhand market.
Why
But I
do you
will.
even share this information with us? I was like, this is a great Father's Day present. Well, you can't find it anywhere.
Well, you can. I'll send you some info. We can.
You're just gonna
Tell
pay
me
for
a
it.
size. I'll get you. I'll find you something.
Jake is like the shirt whisperer. He'll track it down. The great shirt detective.
I'll try to. Sometimes I don't succeed. But those are easy to find because they're popular and people sell them and they sell fast. And so there's a lot of shirt flippers out there.
Shirt
like house flippers. Yeah. They'll buy, like when a big drop comes, they'll buy a bunch of that drop really fast and then sit on them and then sell them a few months.
This jargon, this like kids
Shirt
jargon.
flipper.
Shirt
Yeah.
flipper, dripper, drop. Got my
Yeah.
fit. Like
But
there's so many things happening right now.
It's no different than any collectible market.
Right. But you can actually get something out of your collection. You can actually wear it. Like everybody needs to wear a shirt most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Legally, I think that's
in most cities and states, but not all.
Yeah. No. Germany, it's fairly optional most of the time, I think.
New York
in the summer especially. Yeah. Tracy's got no comment on the shirts, yes or no. He's lukewarm. He's lukewarm to the idea of shirt wearing.
Nobody really wants to see me with my shirt off, so I just kind of.
You don't know that.
Dave just said he disagrees.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
Welcome, babe.
That's the problem.
Excuse me. We should give a quick update because we haven't all three been together, but we've had some changes since we've kind of soft rebooted the show. Valerie is
currently unemployed.
Well,
no, no, you were employed last time.
I have a part-time job at KSL, the movie show.
Exactly. You're on KSL Radio every Friday from 11 to 1 with Andy Farnsworth. And you guys are just so much fun to listen to. Like, I love...
Yeah, you guys are great.
You teasing Andy about how it's not real, it's make-believe, and busting his chops about stuff just cracks me up. Because, like, he doesn't kind of really know how to respond sometimes.
That's what he told me yesterday. He's like, I wish I had better responses. Because I'm like, am I giving you too much crap? And he's like, no. He's like, I just wish I had better responses. And I'm like, okay. I honestly think they could care less about my movie knowledge and what I think about the movies, and they hired me just to go on there to give him crap the entire show. Yeah. My thoughts about movies are bonuses.
Hey, we'll take it.
I tell Andy as advice, as being a straight man to Val over the last, I don't know, 7 years that we've been doing this.
7, yeah.
Just give it time. You'll know when to let stuff go and slide and just let her go. And then you'll be able to start coming back with your stuff eventually. Just give it time. The chemistry builds and it's fine. And you learn, no, you come to appreciate it. Not learn, that makes it sound like I had to force myself to appreciate Val. I didn't. But you come to appreciate the whole package.
I'm grooming you to appreciate my humor.
Yeah. Then she, never mind. I was going to say, what's that?
You're also doing radio.
Yeah, you're doing 2
I
shows a
am.
week.
I am. I'm every Friday. I am on Bryce and Bianucci on ESPN, The Fan, 109.3 and 98. No,
90.
103.9,
You
98.3.
got to get
Yeah.
those numbers down, buddy.
I'm
Not
sorry.
really.
You got to
AM
plug.
We'll find
960.
it.
Here's the thing. I think in the old days, yes, you had to get the numbers down because that's how people found radio stations. But now, if I say ESPN, The Fan, people are going to go Google it
Yeah,
and it'll bring up their website and they'll probably listen from their website. So, but I'm also on The Beat 92.5 with Justin on Friday mornings as well. So, and I'm excited. I am thrilled to be there. I love working with all three of those guys. So it's a lot of
yeah,
fun.
really cool people.
Yeah, and it's good because I've got a face for radio, so it works out really well.
I've got a face for radio, but I pop on TV every once in a while. So,
Tracy, you have a beautiful face. This is the second time you've tried to body shame yourself. I'm not going to stand for it.
I'm on a little bit of sleep this week. It's been a long week. I'll tell you off air. We don't want to bring the show down, but things are okay. It's a friend thing, so not one that you guys know. But anyway,
No.
but yeah. So, but I mean, it's just been really cool to see the show coming back and the individual growth that we're all doing and individual shows, and it's gonna be a fun summer. We got some good stuff still coming up, but we've got a big one this week with Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
Should we jump in?
Let's
Yeah.
jump in. Because that's what this movie did. It just jumped right in. Like it really did. Like the credits roll, we don't get a scroll, but we get similar to what we've seen with Solo and with Rogue One, where it's just kind of an intro into where we're at in the Star Wars storyline. And then it's nonstop action for the first 20 or so minutes.
Oh man, that first set piece was so good.
Yeah. It was awesome. Here's my question. Okay, they've got things that can hover over everything. They've got wheels. Why, whenever they're in snow and ice, do they pick the least effective mode of transportation with these giant walkers?
Because they're fun.
They are fun and they make for a much better battle scene, but like,
And they
I
make
don't know.
the clumping sound on the snow.
Yeah,
Clumpity,
that's
clumpity,
true.
clump.
That's true. But like going up this little narrow road up a cliffside and like, man, it's got to be so stressful to be one of those pilots and the walkers. Like, you don't want to misstep because you're going to, anyway.
Yeah,
But
you're like totally trying to focus, and then your boss comes in, and he's like, "Grab a pistol and go kill one of the most famous bounty hunters in the galaxy, who is trying to kill me." And you're like, "I'm just trying to pilot so we don't fall off this cliff and die." And now
Are we
you've got to
doing
go and
spoilers?
battle.
Do we need to say spoiler alert? Are we doing spoilers? What are we
yeah,
doing?
spoilers. What I think, yeah,
Sorry, Tracy, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to make sure before we go deep into that thought.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
think,
it's not too much of a stretch to say that somebody's going to fight the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
or, and I think we can set up the premise without spoiling it that
Yeah,
he's now contracted with the New Republic and he's hunting down old imperial warlords that have kind of taken over certain areas that they're governing. And it starts with him hunting one of these down. And then
Yes.
we won't spoil anything else.
Yeah, he's basically really in good with working for the New Republic now. He's no longer, on his own, because usually Mandalorians, other than their foundling, they're out there on their own. They don't really work for anybody. They don't want to be a part of anything. They just want to get their money and run. But now he has become a part of the New Republic as a bounty hunter for them. And I feel like this movie, people have been telling me they don't think that this movie really went in any direction when it came to like an arc when it came to the Mandalorian, but I disagree, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But
That's interesting.
yeah, so I have an
I
opinion
don't
on
know if
that.
I would say that. Yeah.
But yeah, so when we meet him, and what Tracy is talking about is there's this huge fight. I just didn't know he was going to come in and say those things and have him get on the roof. So that's why I was wondering, like, how far do we want to spoil these moments for people? Because they can be very exciting.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing a spoiler episode because we don't usually do, and we can deep dive into it. I just want to make sure we tell people off the bat, like, we're going to get maybe not the whole like spoilers
to the end,
but we're gonna wade in the water. We're gonna wade.
Let's do the first little bit here, spoiler free, and kind of give everybody an idea of what we thought about the movie and why. And then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers, so that if you haven't seen the movie and you just want to know what we thought and kind of our reviews of the movie, you can listen to this first part, and then we'll tell you we're getting into spoilers, and then turn us off. But only until after you've seen the movie. Then come back and listen to the rest of the episode.
Yeah, push pause.
Because you don't, obviously you want to hear all of our complete thoughts. So, but that's interesting that you say that, Val, that people have felt that this doesn't really take the Mandalorian story in any kind of arc, because I didn't feel that way. And it's been interesting too. I've heard from a couple of people that I would have thought would have enjoyed it a lot more, that have said that they didn't really enjoy it as much as they thought they would. And it surprises me because for me, it was a lot of fun, like from start to finish. But what's been really kind of the common thread between those two and myself was the audience that they went and saw it in. So one of them was a good friend of the program, Brandon Ushio. He went with his boys, and they were like the only ones in the theater at the time that they went. I think it was like a Thursday screening, and it may have been an early Thursday screening or something. But and so there wasn't the big crowd. So there's that certain amount of crowd energy that kind of builds everything up, that makes these kinds of movies better. And I stand by that. Movie going, especially these kinds of movies, it's a communal experience, and seeing it by yourself or watching it by yourself is just not the same. And then another friend of mine commented and said that he thought it was fine, but then he said, but it may have been that the people next to me were talking through it the whole time. And he said it kind of just ruined the whole movie going experience. And I said, yeah. And my response, when Brandon shared his thoughts, my response was, I really thought it was fun, but I was in a full theater that was packed, and I was sitting next to Tracy Mangum, who makes every movie going experience better just by being Tracy. And so I think that matters. Like, I would say on this movie, and probably Masters of the Universe, Spider-Man, these kinds of movies, Mortal Kombat, don't wait until they've been in the theater for a month and a half, and there's nobody else in the theater with you, and go with people you like. And I think it will make for a better experience. And for the love of everything holy in movies, do not talk during a movie. Don't get on your phone. All of the stuff that you do at home when you're watching something, don't do. And that includes taking your clothes off too. Like, if you're going to sit and watch in your underwear at home, that's fine, but don't do that in the movie theater. Leave the clothes on.
Yeah, Dave.
I hate this place.
I hate this place.
I haven't seen that. I have seen people that will take their shoes off. And
hey, babe.
Yeah.
Come here real quick. I do want him, before he leaves to go to work, to say what he thought about this movie.
He's got a good take. He's got an interesting take on it.
Some people don't agree with, and they may start fights with him. So this is Babe.
Hi, I'm Dave.
I don't think, see, people that thought they were going to start fights have just seen Dave, and they're like, I'm not starting to fight with Dave.
All right, Babe.
Yo, what are you saying? You disagree?
What did you think of The Mandalorian without giving away spoilers?
It was the best Star Wars movie I ever saw. Like, it's fun the whole way through. It had all the action scenes that I think some of the movies they do well in, but not all the way. They don't commit to it. It doesn't have a lot of that lulls of political talk where some of the movies do, where I tend to lose focus in. I thought it was fun the whole way around, like nonstop action, and also the quirkiness of it. Everyone had a role to it, from big or small. There was a purpose. It wasn't just comedic relief.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just merchandising, even though that's going to be there. You can definitely tell when you're watching the movie, like, oh, that's going to be a ride someday.
Already.
Already, like you know how Disney's going to work. Like, we're going to make a ride
It's
out of
synergy,
this,
baby.
yeah.
It's corporate synergy.
Yeah, and Smuggler's Run, they actually did. They had the whole cast: Sigourney Weaver, Pedro Pascal, and a bunch of other people, and they went on as they added the new Mandalorian scenes to Smuggler's Run, so you can actually already experience that when you go to Disneyland.
Or Walt Disney World.
Or, well, sure.
Fine, whatever.
Okay.
Sure thing, Tracy.
That has all the money in the world to go to Disney World all the time. Just
Listen,
kidding.
I think it's fair to say we live closer to Disneyland than Disney World, and we have a very clear-cut bias for Disneyland.
Yes,
we
we
do.
do.
So
Okay, love you.
just
Okay,
know when
bye.
we say
Bye, babe.
Disney,
Good
we
luck.
typically bye, babe.
Go ink some people.
Yeah, so
Great tattoo artist. If you guys need a tattoo, Dave Man Tattoos. Like, it's the way to go.
a few things that I wanted to get into. One of my favorite things about the film was the fight choreography for the fighters, not the actual people, but the planes. So there was a lot of really good dog fights in the film. No dogs were actually fighting. This is when you have kind of like World War II-esque planes and ships and galaxy fighters all going around. And I actually, in my written review, I told people to go watch a few movies that would kind of give you some other background on some other movies that had similar good fights. But I think this is probably, this movie was probably better. But Tora, 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 Top Gun, of course, and then Battle of Britain. Those three movies have some great dog fights in them. And this, for me, I was just watching all of the action of the spaceships and the starfighters come in, and I was just like, this is one of the best. And they added, because other Star Wars movies, you don't always see the sky, the clouds, everything. You're looking at other ships, you're looking at space. And this one, you know, other than, I think, is it episode 6?
Empire?
That's Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Not Return of the Jedi, sorry.
Empire?
No. It's
Last Jedi?
It's the other Jedi. Last Jedi.
Yeah, The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi actually has some really cool fights like that as well, but it's more of a visual aspect of the world around you and less about the ships. And so this one is more about the ships, the fighting, the angles, everything. And so for me, that was one of the coolest things about this film. And the actual fighting between the characters was really, really cool.
Especially that first sequence inside the walkers. Like, there was some really nice, it kind of reminded me almost, not as intense, but like the famous hallway fight scene from Daredevil. Because you just had like kind of this long tracking shot inside the walker. And it was almost Batman-esque at times, where the Mandalorian's in like shadow and you just see like laser fire and it just lights up his armor for just a half a second. And then he's like shooting one guy in the knee and then kicking this other guy in the face and then turning around and flame throwing the guy that he just shot in the knee. I like that he's a little bit dirty with his fighting style. Like, it's
a Western, man.
It is very much a Western. Absolutely.
It's dirty.
It's down. It's dirty. It's gritty. It's not just it's up close and personal. It's not just a laser rifle from across the room. Yeah.
He's dirty because he fights to win, but it's ironic. At one point in the film, and this isn't a spoiler because he's said it in the series, he says he tries to avoid violence, and you're like, what are you talking about? You beat up
when you're sleeping.
But the reality is, he only engages in violence when he's engaged first, like when they come to him, and so he fights dirty, but not in like an unethical or immoral way. He doesn't sneak attack. He doesn't stab you in the back, but he will do what he needs to do if he's in a fight with you to win.
He'll
And
use every resource
yeah,
available.
And
Mhm.
yeah,
anytime a flamethrower is in action, I'm for it. So I
Totally.
think we should all have flamethrowers myself.
they
But
should just be attached
Absolutely.
to our wrists like
yeah,
he's got. Yeah.
Just
It's just
sound.
convenient. It's just convenient. I mean, how many times I know every day a situation comes up and I think if I only had a flamethrower on my wrist, I could have easily dealt with this
that
situation.
spider on the wall wouldn't have even had to go over there.
Yeah. Yeah. My house would have been burned down by this point because, oh, spider,
Jake's like,
gone.
this steak isn't quite done just enough. Let me just give it a little bit of sear.
No, you don't do that to a steak,
You can sear it.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't have enough of a sear on top. You just give it a little bit.
But we going back to the fight choreography, I think for me, when we're watching a movie like this or a TV series like this, when I feel like the fight choreography is good is when we're watching a battle scene or a fight scene that in no way is probable or feasible,
Mm-hmm.
but I watch it and I think, oh no, I think somebody could actually pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this seems reasonable that the Mandalorian could go in and fight off numerous stormtroopers with no problem. Like, watching it, yeah, I can see how this would work out. That's well done choreography, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is it's really not. Logically, I know that, but I'm also seeing a movie where, as Val has pointed out many times to Andy, it's not real. So I turn that logical piece off and just enjoy.
Yeah. That was the thing that I said to the studio rep after. The first thing I said was Star Wars was fun again. Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, like you could get into the whole, Rise of Skywalker. Well, Rise of Skywalker was just an abomination. Excuse me. Last Jedi, people are very split on, but it's not like the most entertaining film, right? You can debate the merits, good or bad, but like Force Awakens, I remember coming out of the theater going, that was the Star Wars of my childhood. Like, it was fun. And that's how I felt with this one. Like, I felt like I was a young kid again, just watching cool space action and space battles and cool monsters. And I love the fact that almost everything in this was practical. They built practical sets. They had puppets. A lot of the creatures were puppets and stop motion, which,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, Mary Hayhausen, just, that was I love the fact that, because when digital technology started to come in and Lucas started messing around before the prequels and he did the re-releases of the original trilogy and he inserted all the digital stuff, and it was just thrown at the wall, like, look what I can do. And everything looked so slick and everything looked so polished. And Star Wars is a dirty, gritty universe, like everything looks used and kind of worn. And like Star Trek is very sleek, it's very polished, it's very clean. And so those things fell out of place. And so to go back and see these little puppets, I mean, not everything was. Of course, you had the huts that were CGI. The Martin Scorsese alien was pretty much CGI. But like the little engineer dudes and Grogu, all puppets. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. And you could tell that they were stop motion. The frick frack dudes were stop motion, and I loved it because it felt like Star Wars to me.
Yeah.
It felt like the 3D chessboard, which also makes a cameo in this. Not to spoil it, because we haven't gotten into spoilers yet. But
it made me feel like the Labyrinth and Fraggle Rock went to Star Wars universe, and you've got all the little weirdo puppets.
Analogy.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed how they did that with a lot of the creatures and the puppets and the practical effects. And I think what we saw in terms of those kinds of things, we saw two people that were in charge of this movie, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, who love the original Star Wars trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
and they put on film a love letter to the original Star Wars and what it was and what they feel like they could build in this universe. And I felt like a lot of that love and passion came through in
Mm-hmm.
how they produced the film.
Well, and I saw an interview with Favreau, and he had some interesting points. And he said it's been 7 years since we've had a Star Wars movie in theaters. He said it's been, I think, 6 or so years since The Mandalorian first came out. And he said TV is very generational. You'll have a lot of people who are original Star Wars fans who are, grew up on the originals like I did. You've got people who grew up on the prequels, who are now introducing their kids to Mandalorian. And he said, but some of the kids that are going to come to this movie weren't around or weren't able to comprehend the TV show when it first came out. So this is new to them. And so he said he made a very pointed effort in the writing of the script and of the making of the movie to make it so that you did not have to have an extensive background on these characters before you come into this movie. Like you could just walk in and sit down and watch it and understand and enjoy it. And that's one of the things that I loved about this, because there are times where I love a deep lore. Like you get into some of these movies and there's just so much backstory. Like Lord of the Rings is so in depth, right? It has such a rich story and so much history. And you didn't need that in this story. This story doesn't need. I like the fact that there wasn't a galaxy ending threat. The Emperor wasn't back. We didn't have something where the whole universe is going to be destroyed unless Mando saves it. It was he got hired to do a job and he does the job. And I was fine with that. And a lot of people are like, oh, it felt like because there weren't these big stakes that it was just another episode of the TV show. But that's kind of what this was born on TV, but I felt like they did enough with the budget and with the sets and with it felt bigger than just a TV episode put on the big screen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
And I think I agree. And I think there are just some characters that I think about comics and I think about superheroes, and this works for the movies as well. There are the ground level heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, who has done a lot of intergalactic and whatever stuff, but mostly he's a ground level hero. Daredevil's a ground level hero.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that are on. Nightwing is another example.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that are in the city, on the ground, fighting crime. These are the crime fighters. And then you've got your Supermans and your Captain Americas and your X-Men that are out fighting these world-ending threats all the time, and that's what they do. And it's the same in Star Wars. It's okay to have your Luke Skywalker, your Rey Skywalker, and it's okay to have those that are fighting those galaxy threatening dark side Sith threats. But that's not Din Djarin. That's not the Mandalorian. He doesn't have the Force. I mean, he doesn't have any special powers. He's not a space wizard. He
Mm-hmm.
is just a guy who's now a single dad trying to figure that piece of it out, who's got a job that puts his life in danger all the time, and he's just trying to make things work.
This would be a great 80s sitcom.
It would. And I love these kinds of characters in these big, broad galaxies or universes, because now I can relate to the Mandalorian more than I can relate to Luke Skywalker. I didn't grow up on a farm and I was taken away and have these special magical powers. There are things that I can relate to with Luke Skywalker. I think everybody can. But with Mando, it's like, yeah, I get it, man. You're just doing the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you're failing at every turn, but you're missing all the good stuff that you're doing, man. I feel bad. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, but that's me too. I feel like I'm failing at every turn, and I probably am missing the stuff that I'm doing okay at, you know?
In this film, he actually has to decide not only to take care of his kid, and they show him very much as a father in this movie and bring up father and dad and all of that, but as he's out on his mission, he then also has to think to himself, morally, should I just take this money and run, even though I know what's going on and I won't give away what's going on, is not right. And I know it's not right, but do I just, like I've done in the past, get my target, go get my bounty, take my youngling, my son,
Job's a
and
job.
go on and do it. And so for me, that's a huge part of the arc, is that, he takes this mission that he didn't want to take, but it's money, he's going to do it. And he goes and he figures out, oh, this isn't actually the mission that was told to me. This is wrong. And he makes a decision. And in the past, he wouldn't have done that. One, he wouldn't have brought his foundling with him because he just wanted to do it by himself. Here, be safe, stay here. I'm gonna go get this done. I'll come back for you. And then I'm just gonna go pick it up, and the person can say, I didn't do this. You've got the wrong person, blah, 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 blah. And he'd be like, put the cuffs on, throw you in the freezer,
Tell
and
it to
I'll,
the judge.
and
I can
I'll
bring
drop
you in hot, I can bring you in cold.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. I'm
Exactly.
bringing
Doesn't
you
matter
in.
to me.
Yeah.
I've got
So
a job to do, and I'm going to do the job. And yeah.
so for me, that was a huge part of his arc, and it happened in the middle of the movie. It wasn't even at the end. There's more stuff that came for me that helped him with his arc.
I agree. And I love that. I think we saw a tremendous amount of growth in the main characters, in the Mandalorian, like you were saying, Val, also in Grogu. And I think that's one of the things that we see is their relationship dynamic is changing in this film. And without going into spoilers or how or whatever, they are reaching a point, and maybe I may just be really sensitive to it. My second child just graduated from high school. So I'm at this point where it's like, my kids are like becoming adults, and how do I let go of that and let them be independent and let them make their own choices? And did I do enough to prepare them for it? And I think the Mandalorian's facing a lot of those thoughts
And the
and
quote that he
challenges.
said before, Jake, the quote that he said before is that, the old take care of the young, and then the young take care of the old. And that's been a quote not just by him, but through, the
Yeah.
ages. And this movie really shows that. And it's not an in your face, down your throat kind of messaging. And I
No.
think that's where people maybe are not feeling like this is as Star Wars for them, because like Dave said, there's nothing really political in it. There's some things that to do with the Hutts and all of this that's their own, issues, but it's not political issues. It's in their own little world, but it doesn't have anything to do with the bigger world at large. I don't think that every movie that is a good movie needs to follow the spectrum of we start here, then we go here, and then we come here, and everything wraps up in a bow. Things can go this way, and as long as it's a good, well-written, well-acted story, I think it's great. So I don't think there has to be a huge arc, but I do see transitions and transformations in almost every character on the screen, which is great. And I loved the nod. There's a nod that Grogu does to Yoda that I think that Yoda fans and old school Star Wars fans are really going to like, the moments that Grogu does his nods to Yoda, and that connects some of those worlds for us. And it's not huge. It's not this big, ginormous moment. There's a lot of very quiet moments in this movie that it's a great, you've got the loud, you've got the action, you've got the fights, you've got all of this, and then you've got these quiet moments where the characters are reflecting, and it gives you a chance, like Jake was talking about, to reflect on how this makes you feel and how their feeling is your feeling as well. It gives you those moments to relate. And I really appreciate those moments.
Yeah. And you're right, it's not like over the top, but when Grogu does do the little, like, the tribute, it's instantly recognizable. As a Star Wars fan, it's like, oh yeah, I know where this is going. I get what we're doing here, and I love it. But it is it's not loud, it's not in your face, but it's definitely noticeable.
And I like the fact, too, that they gave Grogu things to do in this movie. He's
Yes.
not just the prop. He's not just the thing that has to be protected. Like, he's getting up into armor now. He's going out and being a part of this. He's using the Force. I mean, like, he's not going to... I like the fact that he's not, like, flipping around like Yoda in the prequels, doing all sorts of lightsaber stuff, and he's not just like force using everything. Like he's still struggling. He's still a kid. He's still learning these things.
Yeah. I realized toward the end of the movie that I keep thinking of him as this completely incapable infant of a child, but he's had years of growth. And the reason why I keep thinking that is because he doesn't speak. And then I had to be reminded of Qui-Gon's quote that the ability of speak doesn't make one smart. And it's true. And he's taking everything in, and we see that in this movie, that he has learned everything that Mando has taught him, and he has taken that in, and we get to see that on display. For me, I think this movie, because there are rumors that this is what's happening, I think this movie was everything that's come before in the series has come before. You can go back and you can watch it. You can see how the Mandalorian finds Grogu. I think this is a movie that if you've never seen The Mandalorian, you don't need to. You'll be able to figure out what's going on. But then if you're interested to know the whole backstory, that's available on Disney Plus. Go check it out. But I think this is a movie that was meant to accomplish something business-wise, and that was to transition The Mandalorian and Grogu from Disney Plus to movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Because the word on the street is that Star Wars is not going to be doing as much on Disney Plus and looking more toward doing things in the theater. And honestly, I'm okay with that because I think Star Wars belongs on the big screen. I love the series that they've done, most of them, but I just think that's where it belongs. So to me, I think that's what this really was. And that's the story that they told, was to transition you from, okay, here are the episodic adventures. Now this is kind of a blend between a movie adventure and these episodic adventures to transition us into movie Mando. So
Let's get into the feel. Most people do know that the original Mandalorian Bounty Hunters Guild is heavily based in like American spaghetti westerns. That's how they came up with Boba Fett and what the costume looked like. You can actually watch a documentary about that on Disney Plus right now. And the woman who created the Boba Fett's costume and everything that went into it. And that moves over into the Mandalorian shows and a lot of the music. If you listen to the opening music of The Mandalorian, it is very Western. Western meets space. It's a space Western. But what I loved in this film is that we get to see a lot of other styles from other planets that we haven't seen before. And it's one of the first times that The Mandalorian goes into an area, a planet that looks more Earth-based. And he's walking around, and it looks very cyberpunk's Blade Runner. And it's really cool. It reminded me of Tokyo when I went to Tokyo. And when you enter into that planet, you are no longer even close to any John Williams music. So you're getting so many different music styles. You're getting so many different styles of the film, because there's a moment where there's fighting that looks like James Bond style fighting. You've got the feel of Tokyo. There's gladiator nods from the movie The Gladiator. And if you get into that scene, there's a few fight scenes that if you are a huge Star Wars fan, old school, you will look at this fight scene and realize it belongs somewhere else, to something that you've seen before, not only on one of the rides, but in the movies. And it was so cool. And I'm like, I hope all of these creatures become something I can purchase and put on my shelf, because back in the day, the monsters were all, but they were big. Like, we have one of the big ones, but I just want like one miniature of all of those little monsters. And I know that's what they're going to do. But just being able to see, there's even a moment where they're fighting with samurai-esque weapons.
yes.
So every fight style is in this film, and different backgrounds and planets and things that we haven't seen before. And I was just so visually interested in what I saw and what I heard in this film. I love John Williams. I'll But when you have a movie that is, and I say it's Star Wars adjacent because if you have a Star Wars movie that doesn't have the crawl, right? You've
Right.
got
Hmm.
Solo, a Star Wars movie, you've got Rogue One, a Star Wars movie, and now you've got Mandalorian and Grogu, and they don't even say a Star Wars movie after that. So to me, it has all the elements of Star Wars. You've got the creatures, you've got the planets, you've got all the things, but it is over here and it can do whatever it wants.
Yes.
And they
Mhm.
did. They played with so many
music?
different things in this film.
I loved the soundtrack to this movie because not only do you have the big sweeping score at times, but you also have a couple different versions of the Mandalorian score, which was really, really interesting. There's like a very slowed down orchestral version. But the part that I loved, Val, and when you were talking about the Neon City, the music went totally 80s synth, which I was geeking so hard over because I have not really heard that in a Star Wars film before. And I'm like, it's perfect. Like, this is the same composer who did Sinners. He worked on Game of Thrones. I mean, like, this guy is so good at what he does with understanding music and how it affects the story and how it affects you emotionally. And to me, that was so much part of the fun. Not only visually was it interesting with different planets and different creatures, but just the soundtrack I thought was just fantastic. I loved the score to this film.
Well, and you mentioned Val when he comes to Shikari, I think was the name of the
I
planet,
think
the
so.
city that was very modern and reminded you of Blade Runner. I thought the same thing, and a big part of it was the synth music that started playing when he got there. It just added, like,
It
all
just
of it
sucked
blended
in.
together so well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just really well done. And it's amazing that you can take that same theme at the core of all of it and give
Mm-hmm.
us so many different styles to match every area that they were in, every place that they were. So
And the thing I think is really cool about this movie too is I love that Favreau knows how to make movies for multiple generations. Like, he can make very specific movies like Swingers, which is not kid friendly, but then he can go and make Elf. He can do Iron Man. He's done episodes of Mando. Um, Heck, we did one of our favorite movies that he's did was Chef, that we all
yeah,
absolutely loved. The guy is just a really good storyteller, and he doesn't have the most distinctive visual flair. Like, you can't look at one of his movies and say that's a Jon Favreau movie, whereas you can with other directors, right? You can look at something and go, that's a Hitchcock film, that is a Danny Boyle film, and you don't get that with Favreau. But what you're going to get is a very solid, well crafted, well thought out. Everything has a purpose. Everything falls into place, and almost always you're going to be entertained, which I think is really important because Star Wars is kind of at a crossroads, Jake. Like you said, so much of Star Wars, especially for the younger generation, has been on Disney Plus, and now it needs to come back to the big screen, and to have somebody he has a childlike sense with him. When you watch Favreau in interviews, he has
yeah,
like this little glint in his eye. Like, there's a little bit of
yeah.
like there's a fun to him. Like, he's enjoying what he's doing with his life, and he wants to share that in his films, which I think is fantastic.
I thought it was funny. There was a interview that he was doing a few days ago, and in France, he is more widely known from his roles on Friends than as director of any Star Wars film.
That's funny.
He's
I
in like
didn't
8
watch
episodes
Friends.
of Friends, and it's in repeats, and I guess in France,
Oh,
Oh, it's
that's
huge. I've heard
yeah,
it's
it's
huge in
huge. And he's
France.
like, and
Yeah,
now it's reruns, and he's like, so my daughters and all of her
oh my
friends watch
gosh,
it. But he's like, yeah, I was in 8 episodes, and so people will stop me and be like,
I
I think
didn't
his
know
name was
this.
Pete or something like that. And I forgot
yeah,
until he did the interview, and I just thought that was so funny. And he's just a little
Well, people
baby.
forget
He's just this little
he started
guy.
as an actor.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny. I never watched Friends, so I didn't know that.
I think he was a love interest of Courtney Cox's character,
Yeah.
if I remember right. It's been
Yeah.
years since I've watched Friends,
He
but
was.
yeah,
My
Yeah.
gosh, that's funny.
he's one that when he pops up, you're like, oh, that's Jon Favreau. And
Yeah.
Same thing when Paul Rudd pops up in Friends too. It's like, oh, that's Paul
Yeah.
Rudd. And he looks exactly the same today as he did then.
Yeah, they had a lot
It's
of
bizarre.
really
John
cool.
Favreau doesn't, but he's
Yes.
aged like a
No,
fine wine.
Yes.
you can
Yes.
still tell,
But
but
it's
yeah.
just, it was just, I felt like I did when I was a kid watching Star Wars. Like one of my favorite memories is the first time that I got to go to a movie with just my friend with no adults was Return of the Jedi. You know, like I remember seeing Star Wars, the original, in the theaters. I had the bed sheets, I had the drapes, I had all the toys. We'd bash up all the monsters. That gladiator scene with all the monsters was so much fun, and so the character designs were very cool. I loved. Can we start to gently tap into spoilers?
Yeah,
Are we fine with them?
we're gonna throw any spoilers in now for the last
Like
few
10
minutes of
minutes.
the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sea snake that he has to fight looks straight. I got to do some research, but it looks like something out of a Ralph McQuarrie sketchbook. And for those
Mm,
that don't know, Ralph McQuarrie was the original artist that Lucas hired to sketch out ideas for what, like, just come up with cool sci-fi space stuff that we could incorporate. And knowing how big of a geek that Favreau and Filoni are for the history of this franchise, I wonder if they went back and found stuff in some of those McQuarrie books, because there's like thick books of just illustrations
yeah.
that he did and put together that they've never used, because that looked like straight out of, like, that was one of the coolest creatures. Like, some of the CGI didn't work for me. Rollo the Hutt, for whatever reason, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you had a big issue with him.
Well,
I don't know
I
why.
I had a problem. Okay, so I remember distinctly being so scared of Jabba the Hutt, seeing Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi as a kid, right? He's just so gross and intimidating, and he doesn't move. He's just like, and just terrible creature. And then when Lucas brought him back into the expanded editions and he's moving, I'm like, that looks, I don't know, there's just something about a slug moving on screen that just doesn't work for me. And then you add a six pack. Like, a snake can move and looks cool. A slug rolling around and then using his arms to propel himself, it just, I don't know. There was just something with him that, I don't know if it was the CGI design. I don't know if it was, I love the guy who does the voice from the bear,
Yeah.
but the voice didn't quite fit with the body. I don't know. What are your
And
thoughts?
it didn't bother me as much as it did you,
And this is a
because
minor thing. Like,
it is it
yeah,
right that I don't think it took you out of the movie from what
no,
you've shared.
no.
It didn't ruin the movie for you, but I think the Huts are weird, and I
Mm-hmm.
think what we clearly have is a case where Jabba was what Jabba was because of the limitations of what they could do at the time.
Absolutely. You had like
And
10 guys puppeteering that thing. Yeah.
yeah, and I think when the prequels came out and the special editions and all of that, and they could do more of the CGI stuff, we got the Huts. I think that George Lucas initially intended them to
Envisioned.
be
Right.
and envisioned. Um, but it's hard to mix the two because Jabba was so intimidating in Return of the Jedi because he, like you said, he didn't move. He just sat there, and like, and Watto's very different. He's mobile. He's fast. He's
Mm-hmm.
strong. His voice doesn't sound like a Hutt because he's kind and compassionate toward Grogu and
Mm-hmm.
And I
uh,
think that's where you see the arc of the Hutts, right? So if you think
Sure.
of the
yes,
Hutts like, they're like the Godfather, right? And you've got the original Godfather, not saying he's gross and disgusting, but y
Brando.
back in the day, they used to be intimidating, right? They're big
Right.
guys, they're intimidating, they can do whatever they want. They don't necessarily have to be the coolest guy, but they're the guy, right? And then you have now the Hutts who are the aunt and uncle, right? The
Mm-hmm.
sister brother, the aunt and uncle
the
is they're
twins. Yeah,
just the twins, they're literally just wimpy little weasels, but they look like Hutts, and so people take them seriously, but they don't have it in them to be like Jabba and take people down. Instead, they need to go and do this really, horrible thing and take down the grandson so that they're the only ones in charge. So they're doing
Nephew.
it in a different way. And now you've got the grandson who is out there.
Nephew.
He gets kidnapped, or nephew, he gets kidnapped, where I think he really wanted to be gone because that's not anything like his life wants to be. And now he can move around because he doesn't want to be docile. He can, he looks like he wants to be a totally different person. He acts like a totally different person. So for me, anytime you have something that's gone by a long period of time, you're going to see things get better, right? It's
Sure.
Every generation of something changes. And if you go from like when slugs first came out to what they turned into later, you know what I mean? If you want to look at that science, I know it's make believe and everything, but
wait, hold on. I thought these were real slug creatures that we're talking about. And they actually evolved like this.
Yeah, so I'm just, for me, it was fine for me because it's evolution and it takes
Sure.
place later, right? You have even all the different Darths, right? If you look at all the Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, Darth Vader, it's generational and it's all different on what these are, what they mean, how they act to people. And so for me, yeah, I mean, freaking disgusting Jabba the Hutt everybody's not always going to be that way because he was him, right? He was Genghis Khan. He was Genghis Khan. And, you have people that come after Genghis Khan. Nobody's going to be Genghis Khan again. So to me, that's kind of where I put that.
While I agree with all mentally of where you said, I think it was visually, it just looked out of place for me. It looked kind of, it didn't look well designed. I don't think it was the execution of the design. I think the design is what I had problems with. And I had
the voice. The voice was a little off for me.
The voice didn't work for me. Like, I think he's a tremendous actor. I loved him in the Claw. Was it the Claw, the wrestling movie?
Yes.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that.
He was really great in the Claw.
First Springsteen one. I loved him in The Bear. I just don't think that voice matched that body. And it felt very kind of one note in the performance. That's the other minor quibble I have with this movie is a lot of the performances.
We're talking about Jeremy Allen White, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Just a lot of the vocal performances felt kind of flat. Like Din Djarin, he's going to be pretty monotone the way through. That's just that character. But like Sigourney Weaver felt very subdued. That's the only, and again, it's a minor quibble. I'm giving this thing an A-, right? I loved it. I thought it was great. But there's just a few things that just didn't quite work for me.
Can you find me a Star Wars movie where that's not the case?
I'd have to go back and look, but I don't know. It just felt like in this one,
that's pretty typical, I think.
Everything else was like so fun and so up and so
sure.
And I get why they did it. I really get why they did the voice of why he sounded like that, because he was this big dude that was doing this stuff to get away, but he was a gentle giant, right? Yeah. And he really wanted to be something different, and his voice was different. But at first, I was just like, does this fit? And then later, as the movie went on, I became to love this character, and it didn't bother me. But at first, I was just like, oh yeah, that's Jeremy Allen White. And then I was just then I was trying to hear his voice instead of not hear his voice. And then I let that go. And then once I let it go, like, I didn't mind it at all. So I'm being like I give this movie an A, and you just said A-, so I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I would watch this again today. Like, if you guys were like, let's go watch this, I would go watch it and put my yard work to the side and get troubled by Babe later. But I would totally do that. And that's what it is for me, where there's things that weren't perfect in every movie. Every single movie. But I'm here to be entertained. And I was entertained, and I fell in love with the characters, and I had some moments when I had little teardrops over here, and I had some moments where I was like, heck yeah, in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and that body count was crazy. I was just like, do it. I've never seen the Mandalorian, like, knife someone in the side so many times.
That was cool.
Ever. Like, the knife, and I was like, dang, we in the streets. Like, like, cool moments.
He wasn't messing
fun.
around.
It was exciting. It was emotional.
It was. Yeah, and it was an A- for me. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I think this is one of the movies, and especially because it's Star Wars, and this is how Star Wars is now. If you're going to go into it and you expect it to be fun, and you want it to be fun, I think you're going to find that in this movie. And I go into Star Wars movies with that intent. Like, I want it to be fun. I want it to be good. I went into Rise of Skywalker wanting it to be fun and good. It wasn't for me, but I wanted it. But but if you're going to go in and you've already torn it to pieces in your head, you've watched whatever trailer footage you've watched, and you just feel like this is going to be a hot piece of garbage. Anything that we say right now is not going to change your mind. You're going to go in and you're going to find what you want to find in this movie, and you're going to find things to tear apart and pick apart and really hate about this movie. That's an interesting choice to live your life that way, but you will find that. I didn't find that when I saw this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I would, same as Val, I would go see it again right now. In fact, our good friend Colin Farmer is taking his boy to see it. They're in the theater right now watching it. So I'm interested to see what he thinks.
Like to know that you, like, I think this would be so much fun to know, because Colin, being a huge Star Wars fan, one of the few people that actually likes the holiday special, like, he will die on that hill. Like, he's not being
he ironically likes it. It's not like he likes it.
Well,
I love that it's so bad. I love it.
But,
I love
but
it.
I
I think he does too.
But I love the fact that he is such a fan of this franchise, and it is something that has shaped his life and his personality, and he has really embraced this franchise. And now he can take his son and let his son experience what he experienced as a kid. And to me, that's where this movie works. And I've heard some reviewers where they're like, it's a kids movie. Well, at the heart of it, all Star Wars movies were kids movies, right? Especially in the original trilogy. But
Return of the Jedi with the Ewoks. I mean, the Ewoks were there for the kids, but we still love them.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, I hate the little engineer guys. I thought the little engineer guys were great. Hey,
I just want to see Mando get into their ship. I want to see it happen. Make it happen.
That was one of the best moments.
I laughed so hard because Mando's thinking, they brought me a ship. We're going to get out of here. And they did bring a ship, but it's this little ship.
And Grogu was like so proud of himself. Like, I've done this. I rescued Dad. And then they get there. It's like, yeah, this isn't going to work, guys.
The scene too where Grogu's in the ship with the guys and he's like towering, like he's cramped. Like, when little Grogu is cramped in the ship, that tells you how small this thing is. And then the other humor part is when he's trying to protect his dad and he's trying to build this little bungalow to protect his dad. He didn't make it quite long enough, so he's using the Force to push the unconscious body into and it's like clunk. And he's like backing up.
Keep pushing it in, clunk, clunk, clunk.
And the little Easter egg to Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Yes.
During that moment was fantastic.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I came over to Jake and I'm like, that is so Pirates. Yeah. But Martin Scorsese doing a Star Wars movie, not something I ever thought I'd see in my life, which was, it's just entertaining. It's fun. It's a popcorn.
They made fun choices and they just played with everything they could.
Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with it not having a tie into the bigger universe, and I don't need an interconnected story. Like, I'm okay with just a standalone comic book type film.
Yeah.
You know, give me an individual story with these characters going on adventures. I'm here all day.
Yeah, it's okay for them to have their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And their own story could be minimally impactful on the bigger story as a whole. And that's okay. Doesn't make it less heroic, doesn't make it less valuable, doesn't make it less anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. And I like that about it. And I want it to stay that way. So it was funny on the both appearances that I did, or both not appearances,
Shows?
both segments that I did.
Mhm.
They both Bryce and Justin asked me, so are Star Wars fans going to like it?
Trick question.
I it's like, that's a loaded question. And Justin was very honest. He's like, yeah, that's why I asked it. Okay, well,
Justin's stirring the pot for the radio.
yeah, he's trying to stir the pot over there on the beat. So I don't know. You know,
I don't
I
know what
loved
Star
it.
Wars fans want anymore.
Yeah,
Like
I consider myself a Star Wars fan, and I loved it. So that's my answer.
Well, it's like The Force Awakens comes out, and you have to be like, okay, this is a new story. I'm introducing new characters, but I have to assure you, as old school fans, that this is the Star Wars that you love and remember. And here's some of the stuff from the original. And then people were like, it was too close to A New Hope. I don't like it. I want something new. I want something different. Last Jedi comes out, very different, very new, very original. It's too weird. It's too new. I don't like it. And so I just don't know what people want anymore. But
Just make
I had
good
a blast
movies,
with
and if
this.
they don't like it, they don't like it. That's,
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah.
at. Like, just keep making the movies. Not every movie is for me. There are some Star Wars franchise
Uh-huh.
stuff that's not for me, and that's okay. I can keep scrolling. I can go watch something else. I am not everyone. So just make good movies and be done with it. Like, that's
And this is like the polar opposite of Andor, and I love them both.
yeah.
And honestly, if you're gonna go hate watch it because you want to, they make the same money off of your hate watch ticket as they do off of my love watch ticket. So whatever.
So we got, and not a triple A, but it's in the A range for all three of us.
Yeah.
It's all A's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all A's.
Mhm.
I'd take that on a report card as a kid
Absolutely.
because I wasn't even close to that. So it's a good movie. I recommend it. Go check it out this Memorial Day weekend. I think next weekend we get a little bit of a break with like big titles, and then we get right into what's coming out next
Well,
weekend.
I guess it depends on what you think a big title is.
Yeah.
I have been waiting for the movie Pressure to come out for a
Yes.
long time.
Thank you. Yeah.
If this episode comes out before Monday, Memorial Day, and you live in certain areas, you can actually go see a special viewing of the movie at 2:00 in many theaters. I already have my tickets for me, my dad, and my husband. It comes out on the 29th. This is the D-Day movie with Brendan Fraser and a whole bunch of other actors in it that are amazing.
Andrew Scott.
Yeah. So for me, that is a big movie. Yes,
Yes,
it's not
thank
The
you.
Mandalorian,
Right.
but it would be a really
Backrooms.
fun movie to talk about because you
Backrooms
know
is
how
getting a lot
much
of buzz.
World War II movies mean to me. And this is specifically another look on D-Day, which Saving Private Ryan is over here, and then this one is over here behind the curtain on what should we do, and it's based on a true story, obviously. But I'm super excited about that. So no, it's not a Mandalorian, but there's still dogfights, wars, and people die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Backrooms.
I'm excited for that
Into
one
the
too.
Station. That one looks very interesting, getting a lot of hype and a lot of buzz from A24. And then the week after, hopefully, this movie captures the same fun, but we got He-Man Masters of the Universe, which from the early screenings, people are saying they were pleasantly surprised. So
I'm going
fingers
in and I
crossed.
want the stupid cheese. I want it
I
all
want
day
the
long.
cheese.
100%.
It looks like the cartoon. I will give them credit. Like, it looks visually like the cartoon I grew up on.
Biggest mistake that the original Masters of the Universe movie made was they tried to make it a serious movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not.
Embrace the cheese, man.
Embrace it for what it is, and we'll all love it.
Absolutely.
That's
what we want.
I don't want He-Man to look like a serious anything. I want him to look like He-Man. And they've done a good job. I'm excited for it. I don't know which He-Man shirt I'm going to wear for it.
No, I need to get something, He-Man.
I know that you purchased 2 He-Man shirts. I may need to steal one for my TV appearance.
Okay.
So
Let me know.
I need to not steal. I may need to procure.
Okay. Well, I'm planning on wearing one for when I go see it, and then one for when I review it. I'm trying to decide which one.
That Friday, so
I know, and I'll let you use the one that I'm not using.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
I
I'll
love
walk
that
over.
conversation could have been an email.
Yeah, but people find it interesting.
Sorry,
This
Maybe they
was a
don't.
shared
sorry, I
moment
was trying
between
to be
Jake and me.
funny.
We are sharing clothing, Valerie.
I
We're
know.
just a
Feeling our
couple of
relationship.
gals.
I'm just happy that I had a fun shirt on like you guys did today.
You did.
From Japan.
From
Mine's
I
Japan.
love it.
All right,
I
guys,
didn't.
that was super fun.
All right. Thank
What?
you,
Oh, did I
everybody.
cut you off?
No, you're fine. We need to end. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. Please come back and listen again. And until next time, we won't see you at the movies, unless, of course, we do.
We do.
Bye, everybody. Leave.
Movies that make us laugh, movies that make us cry, from the silver screen to the streaming guide. Breaking it all down, just telling you why. I'm Jake, I'm Tracy, and I'm Val. See you next time.